Welcome back to Defending Utah Television. I am Ben McClintock, and on today's program, we're going to be talking about the Federal Reserve and how it came to Utah. It's not in every state. There are just a few lucky places that get to have the Federal Reserve. And if you've done any research in the Federal Reserve, if you haven't, I recommend you read the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island by G. Edward Griffin. Fantastic book on the subject. Lots of different YouTube documentaries and whatnot. But long story short, the founders of the Federal Reserve wanted to build socialism as dreamed of by Karl Marx. And centralization of credit into the is one of the planks of the Communist Manifesto. But how did this branch, how did a branch of this communist organization come to Utah? This is a clip of our presentation, our full presentation, the Secret Combinations in Utah Extended Edition. But we're breaking it up into smaller pieces to be able to kind of give us some bite-sized chunks on some key topics. We will have the link to the full presentation in the description as well. But want to make sure you don't miss any future presentations. We have tons of stuff that we are working on, getting ready for the start of the legislative session in 2022. You want to make sure you click on that subscribe button, click on that bell to make sure you get notified when a new video gets put out. Also, become a part of the solution. Don't just learn about these things. Don't be the most informed person in the concentration camp. Become a member of Defending Utah today by going to defendingutah.org and clicking on the Join tab. Become a member and help us and become a part of the solution. Also, be a part of this video is part of it's the outline of our book that we're coming out with, and had some things that you might have noticed that we haven't had a lot of videos coming out recently. I've had a bout of the cold, and but now I'm back, and we'll be putting out more videos. But to slow us down with the book that we're producing on Utah's Secret Combinations, that is going to go into more in depth, just tons more stuff that we could ever fit in an hour and a half presentation, or of course in this shorter version that we have here. And so, becoming a member of Defending Utah helps us to be able to really get on that book and get that book finished. And that way more folks can really understand why is it in Utah where we consider ourselves liberty and pro-constitution, but our state, leaders are pushing us more and more towards the New World Order. Why is that? Why is government growing? Why is it we have a balanced budget amendment in the state of Utah, but we're over $8 billion in debt? Why is government growing in the state of Utah? We need to understand these things, and understanding the Secret Combinations and how they've operated in the state and how the international conspiracies come into Utah is really important for us to understand, which is what this presentation introduces and what the book that we're working on will really explain in full. So looking forward to that, and looking forward to you becoming more involved in 2022. So right now, without further ado, we will give you the presentation, the segment on the Federal Reserve coming to Utah.
So the Federal Reserve is one of the planks of the Communist Manifesto, centralization of credit in the hands of the state. So 1913 was the creation of the Federal Reserve. And this guy right here, unseen guardian of the Federal Reserve, was, this guy right here, Colonel Edward Mandell House. They called him Wilson's brain. And he wanted to build socialism as dreamed of by Karl Marx. And he was the unseen guardian angel of the Federal Reserve. It was this guy that was kind of the behind-the-scenes power broker to make sure that everything came together, to make sure that the Federal Reserve Bill was passed in 1913. So now, a few years after this, 5 years later to be precise, in 1918, Salt Lake City, this isn't the one that was built in 1918, this is where it is today, we get a branch of the Federal Reserve established here in Utah. They've had several different headquarters. Again, this is the one that they have today. So now, why would they want to establish a branch of the Federal Reserve in Utah? Let me go back to a statement, a testimony that was given in General Conference by Heber J. Grant. He said, so he was speaking to Mr. Lynch, the governor of the Federal Reserve Bank. I pledge you the absolute loyalty of the people of Utah. I promise to put over any requirement, no matter how much it is, that is placed on the people of Utah on one condition. Promise you any requirement, no matter how much it is, on one condition. And that is that you will give us a Federal Reserve branch in Salt Lake City. We have the loyalty, and if you will bring the bank here, we will borrow the money and we will do our share. So that's what brought in the Federal Reserve into Utah.